Hey, so today I'm going to talk about how to learn a language or how I learn languages, um, which is totally hypocritical because I have never learned another language. so, so this process works for me, and it helps me to start learning a language, but I've never actually completed learning a language to the point where I was fluent. Um, So currently, I can listen to Spanish being spoken, and I can understand what they're talking about just by picking out keywords. Um, I can do the same with Portuguese, and I can do the same mostly with Mandarin. Um, if they talk long enough, I can pick out a word here, word there, and then just through context know what they're talking about. So I've got to the point where I can understand a language. Speaking it, I've been told that my pronunciation is very good when it comes to speaking Mandarin for the few words that I do know. Um, and the way I do it, and one of the reasons that I quit is I feel like we are so close to like a universal translator, anyways. You just download the app and you could travel the entire world and you won't even need to learn any other languages because the universal translator will do it for you. um, I've always wanted to because I always think it's something that builds upon itself, it progresses so that you get better and better, and it's something to learn that is not battleground. And maybe that's something I need to talk about in another video. Whereas you can learn, like if you get involved in like politics or religion or things of that nature, it's you're battling other people. You're battling another ideology. But if you like learn a language, it's all progression. It's just you getting better. You're not fighting against anybody else. The same when it comes to like math and science. It's like you're getting better and better, and there is no enemy. And that's one thing I do like about learning a language, as opposed to like learning about, like I said, like politics or religion and stuff like that. Um, so the way I do it is I go with the Pimsleur method, um, and the way it's set up is that you go through lesson one and listen to it maybe two or three times until you feel like you've mastered it. Then you progress to lesson two. Lesson two builds upon lesson one, and then lesson three builds upon lesson two. And so you are still practicing what you learned in lesson one throughout the rest of the series, just like what you learned in lesson two and lesson three. And so that you are perfecting everything. She's so cute. So you are perfecting everything as you go forward. Um, and then what I've been told is that you learn the second language that you learn, you use that to learn your third. So if I learn Mandarin, I would use Mandarin to learn Portuguese, and you go from there, and then that will solidify your knowledge of Mandarin. um, I've talked about Tim Ferriss in the past, and he's a guy who speaks multiple languages, and he's pretty good to help you as to how you learn your first and how you learn your second, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said there at the beginning of this video, I'm entirely a hypocrite when it comes to this, because I have only learned one language, English. So um, another reason I would want to learn language is to help my memory and to stave off like Alzheimer's in the future. Just keep the brain working, keep the brain working. Um, I've also said in the past that I believe Mandarin will be the language of space. Um, Going forward in the future, I foresee um, that there will be a Chinese moon base and that Chinese will be the first ones on Mars. And I think that they will progress outward um, from there because Americans have decided to ignore science and ignore space and stuff like that. So, but that's a topic for another time. Um, so yeah, when I chose to learn another language, I went with Mandarin. I used the Pimsleur method, and when I was doing it, oh, here's another thing: record your progress um, in a journal or whatever. Just how far you went. Is there one lesson that you had to go through like 2 or 3 times, um, just to go back for to review it? Now I feel because there's Pimsleur one, Pimsleur two, Pimsleur three when it comes to Mandarin. If I've It's been so many years since I've learned it, but I feel like if I went back to like Pimsleur two, there's 30 courses in the first one, but I feel like that would all be review for me. So if I wanted to start fresh again, I would have to go back in like Pimsleur two for that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on learning another language. But yeah, I'm just waiting for that universal translator. Once I have that, then I think I think the entire world will be golden because we can talk to anybody and everybody.